they probably spray the dude, even if he missed and he didn't really beat anybody up. They're going to spray him in the face. They're going to spray the other dude in the face and anybody around him. And they can't fucking breathe. And then when they're on the ground, they're just beating his face in. They're fucking they're handcuffing his hands and dragging him all the way up behind his back, all the way up. And just while he's on the walkway, they're just beating his face in front of everybody. And then when they get him down to medical, God help you when you're in there, man, because that's where nobody can see you. And they put you in a room. The sergeants are there, the lieutenant might be there, and they, probably strip your ass naked and fucking just start beating the living shit out of you before they put you in the box. And that shit happens every fucking day.
So Sam, I know you just get out of prison. You were one of the January 6ers. We did an interview before. You end up going off to prison. You finally get out. I think Trump pretty much, he pardons you too as one of the January 6ers. What was it like? What was your life like, man, going to prison?
So it was pretty crazy, man, because, I was not I didn't ever anticipate going to prison. I don't think anybody does. But in my situation, like, I just didn't see it coming. I'd never been to jail. I'd never had any experience with prison. So basically what happened was, after the whole January 6th situation, which I could talk more in depth later about if you'd like, the feds basically ran down on me in the middle of the street, and they ran down on me with a bunch of guns. They zip tied my hands, and then they threw me in fucking the shoe in solitary in a prison right behind me, actually MCC Manhattan. And that was my first experience in prison. And it was pretty traumatizing for me in the beginning. And I bailed out after about a couple months in, and I knew I was going back. And, I wound up doing time in 13 different facilities over the course of 4 years.
Man, bro, it's been 4 years?
Yes, sir. 2021, January 20th.
Man, crazy, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is.
So when you end up getting sentenced, what do they give you?
So the feds gave me 4 months on a misdemeanor trespassing charge, which is what this whole thing came about from. It was the charge entering and remaining on restricted grounds, which was a misdemeanor. And, that whole charge is debatable because the FBI hasn't admitted how many agents were in the crowd on January 6th. They've admitted 26, but we know they're full of shit. And there probably were a whole hell of a lot more. And I basically walked through an open door that probably some FBI agent or some fucking federal informant or government asset told me to do. And then they raided my house. They ran down on me for it. And so what happened was, long story short, I had my AR-15 safely stored in a case where I was staying at. And, they basically charged me with criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree in New York State, which they charged me all the way up to a B-level felony. I was looking at 15 years in prison for that. And Alvin Bragg, our amazing DA here, asked for $400,000 bail initially for that. So, it's just, I have a lot to say about that. I have my articles I've written about that. I won't bore you with the details. Whatever you want to talk about. It was crazy, the whole thing.
I want to talk about you going to prison. Do other prisoners find out that you're one of the January 6ers?
Yeah, immediately. Everywhere I went, it was immediate. Some places it was better than others. In the beginning, it was fucking bad. It just depends where I was at. Like where I finished up at FDC Philadelphia, when I walked into the pod, it was bad. It was just bad. It was like I was the only white guy there. There was a couple other white dudes, and they all thought I was some kind of fucking, they just assumed I was a racist, so they stole my mat. They fucking, I was getting fucking jumped. All this shit was happening. It was bad, dude. But you know,
So you go in there, they actually steal your mattress that you're supposed to sleep on?
Yeah, man. So, you know, like I said, FDC Philadelphia, that was where I finished up at. They, you know, just the racial shit was super real there, man. I mean, I was just being honest with you. I was, you know, it was like a couple white guys there that were stand-up white boys and whatnot. The rest were fucking chomos. I don't fucking understand how that place works, man. But yeah, when they found out the CO there, Miss H, this lady, she told these people that, you know, that was who I was. And, you know, the pod boss guy or whatever, he ran down and stole my mat. They put me in with this dude. It was just bad situation there. But yes,
People
sir,
want to hear the
everywhere I went.
details. You know, they went in there. Was it a white dude that stole your mat? Was the
No.
pod-
This is my last spot that I finished up at. I finished up at New York State. I did 2.5 years there. I got a year off for my my IPA training and doing college, and then they actually put me on this crazy transfer trip to Oneida County, Delaware County, and then ultimately FTC Philadelphia. I get in there, was in 6 North. They actually put me in 6 South first, but then they fucked up, and then they threw me in 6 North, which is like the punishment pod. I don't know what the hell happened. My first cellie was this guy named Leaf Ward. He was a rapper in Philly's like famous or something. Nice guy, actually. He was a black fella. And I get in there. He's like, yeah, what are you in for? I'm like, yeah, man, you know, I'm here as like, you know, January 6th or whatever. And he was like, oh, okay. You know, you're not no racist, right? I'm like, nah, man, I'm actually not. And then he like calls over his buddy. His buddy's like, nah, you ain't taking no white boy in with you. So that's just how the fuck it is, man. I'm sorry if that's not politically correct. So he was like, we're gonna find you, you know, another cell to stay at. So I'm like, all right. And we're finding a new spot. I go in with this guy. This is actually crazy, dude. There's like 2 other white dudes in the pod, like I said, that are stand-up guys. They say, oh, we're gonna find you a spot. They find me a spot with this dude named Jay. And I didn't know this dude's charges. Okay. It was this big, you know, fucking black guy. He was like, you know, oh, I'm in here for guns and drugs. We get along just fine. And I find out later that this fucking guy, bro, this guy was the worst kind of fucking chomo, bro. I didn't fucking know it at the time, but this guy was like a child pornographer. Like
yeah,
he
we're
fucking
stay away from some of it. We'll stay away from some of them words like the P word and stuff. But go ahead.
Sorry, sir. Sorry about that. But I'm just trying to say what happened. So they put my stuff in that pod, and I had no idea that this was going on because I just got here. It was in pod 620, which is where none of the cameras are at. It's like a murder hole, and you know, so this dude, you know, runs down on the pod, steals the mat. I tell the CO, she's like, well, go fucking find it then. You know, go fucking, you know, you got, you know, you want to walk in here like that. Well, just fucking go get it. And I'm like, lady, I don't know nobody here. You know that. Like, you're going to make me sleep on a fucking steel rack. And she's like, I don't need that shit from you and this and that. And so I slept on a steel fucking rack. And the next day, you know, the cop that came in was all right. But yeah, things just went from bad to worse in that spot at that time. But I've been through a lot of shit.
Hold on. They steal your mattress. Do you know who stole your mattress? Obviously, at the time, you know who stole it.
No, I didn't know at the time. Nobody wanted to tell me. I didn't know nobody. And I found out later who it was. And me and him actually became kind of cool. After that, he apologized to me for that because he didn't know who I was. He thought I was some kind of asshole or something. I don't know. But yeah, he ran down. He stole my mat when I wasn't there.
So you sleep on a metal bed. The correctional officers, these good federal correctional officers,
right.
They don't get you a mat. No one gets you a mat. You got to sleep on a metal frame.
Yes, sir.
That's all because you were a January 6er. That's the reason they took it. Oh, he's a racist. He likes Trump, so I'm taking his mattress.
Yep, that's what it was.
Maybe Trump will hear that. You know, maybe he'll send you over a mattress. So anyway, you know, was that your only federal prison spot or no?
No. So I started out in the feds. I started out MCC Manhattan back here. I was in solitary there for, maybe 8 days or whatever. Then they shipped me out to Cimarron, Oklahoma. That's a transfer center out in Oklahoma. That was a pretty fucked up spot. Not gonna lie about that. Then I went from there to Virginia County for a night, and then to DC, the gulag over there, and that was just solitary. So
They sent you to the DC jail?
yes, sir.
What was that like?
I mean, it wasn't really shit. It was just they put all of us J6ers in a pod, and you're just in solitary confinement 24 hours a day, really. Every third day you get a shower. The conditions are bad. There's no violence because there's no you're not in GP, you're just in a cell all day, but you don't have nothing to read, you don't have nothing to do. You're just sitting in your cell counting bricks, doing push-ups, stuff like that.
Let me ask you this, right? All the January 6ers are in this pod, not all of them, but a big group of you guys got your own pod. What's the talk like? Is it like, hey, man, we hope Trump gets reelected and he's going to pardon some of us? I mean, what's the talk like? Are you guys really believing that Trump's going to come in and pardon you?
So this was when I was there for a short period of time before I bailed out and had to deal with this New York State charges in 2021. So I was maybe there March of 2021. And this is after Biden won the election, in my opinion. I don't think he really won. And morale was pretty fucked up. I'm not going to lie to you, man. We were trying to pump each other up like, hey, man, it's going to be, the American people are going to see, what Biden is really standing for and how he's going to destroy this country. And people are going to come back and vote for Trump. And, we got to have faith in God, and we got to have faith in, that there's goodness in the world and things are going to work out. And we would pray and we would say the national anthem. And, most of these guys, honestly, are great people. They're, hardworking. They're not like your traditional inmate. They're just good folks. So we all try to help each other out and stay positive when I was there.
Was there any talk like, hey, man, we hope he gets reelected and pardons us? Is there any talk that Trump will pardon us at some point?
Not in the beginning. I don't even think we were thinking that at all, man. Like, it was a long way away. It was right after Biden won and we're just thinking, man, I don't know if we're ever going to fucking get out of here, dude. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm never coming home.
I was in contact with the one dude. What the hell was his name? Jake Lang. He was hitting me up and stuff. He had a jack, whatever. He's free now.
Yeah.
But I was in contact with him. I'm sure he's probably doing big interviews other places now. But
yeah, he's actually in the city now. We're probably going to meet up later today, I guess, if he wants.
Well, tell him you talk to me and tell him call me.
Roger that. I will.
I'd love to interview him, man. Tell him I'd like to interview him.
Definitely. I will.
So now the other thing is there ever a point in your time when there is talk about, hey, man, Trump's going to pardon us?
So like I said, I spent most of my time in New York State prison. So when I was up there, there were no January 6ers at all. There were some Republican guys. There were some dudes that were, and it became more over time. More people started to like Trump over time. You figure they would because he passed the First Step Act and he actually did meaningful prison reform, but most inmates didn't even know that. It was pretty much just me on my own, sir, up there as a J6er. There were the cops were pro-Trump, but other than that, there weren't really any other.
Just call me Chad, man. Let's skip the sir stuff. But anyway, the cops are kind of most of the cops are pro-Trump in New York State prison. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of things going on here. Did you get any respect from the cops when they found out you were a January 6er?
Yeah, actually, in upstate New York, and this is one thing I got to say is that some of the cops showed me a lot of respect because the cops that knew about my case, they all said that it was fucking bullshit and I shouldn't have been in prison for it because they followed the case. They knew that it was a setup. They knew that it was used to basically frame Trump supporters as terrorists so that the Democrats could, gain a political advantage. And they were like, fuck the Democrats. You shouldn't be in jail, man. Like, it's unfair what happened to you. So it didn't really buy me I still got raided. I still got put on the wall all the time. I still had the dog hit on me and, stripped naked, screamed at, and all that shit that happens. It wasn't, they couldn't give me really no quarter, really.
Damn, I mean, you were a guy that, exercised your right to bear arms. You were a Republican, obviously. You never really in jail before, right?
No, sir. No, Mr. Chad. No.
So this, you don't have to call me.
Sorry.
So
I have this bad habit,
bro. I'm just a regular dude kicking it with you, right?
Yes.
So anyway, you end up going to jail. You're in New York State prison. We see all the people right now. There's a strike going on in all the prisons.
Yeah.
Were you ever in Marcy or any places like that?
Yeah, I was in Marcy for GP.
You were actually in Marcy?
Yeah, I was in, like I said, I was in 13 facilities. I was in Marcy for, believe it or not, a day. So after my time ended up at Cape Vincent, where I did all my time, I was transferring out to complete the remainder of my federal sentence because I got fucked by every fucking legal entity that could possibly be involved. My federal judge, Carl Nichols, my state judge, Mandelbaum, the lawyers, all this shit. He sentenced me consecutive to the state. He could have ran a concurrent, God forbid, and then I would have been going to shock. I would have been going to fucking work of release, but no, he sent me there. So after Cape Vincent, I went down to Marcy. And the truth about Marcy, in my experience, my very limited experience, is that it's a way better jail than most other jails because they have body cams. In Cape Vincent, they don't have no body cams. There's no cameras.
What was going on at Cape Vincent with no body cams?
A lot of shit, man. Yeah, man. Every fucking day, dude. Every day.
Tell us about it. For a person that's never been there, tell us about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, look. First off, I gotta say is that my whole thing with the cops, a lot of inmates fucking hate cops. I don't blame them for that. A lot of cops hate fucking inmates. I don't necessarily blame them for that either. But my whole thing is that the system itself is broken. The system puts people in a bad spot where the cops and the inmates got to do bad shit to each other sometimes and amongst themselves. So I'm not saying this to point fingers at cops or inmates, but I'm just going to tell you the truth because it needs to come out, man. Yeah, there's a lot of brutality that went on up there, man. A lot of bullshit, a lot of cops setting people up, cops unnecessarily brutalizing inmates, potentially beating inmates to death. I can't fucking prove that because I wasn't in the room, but inmates died up there. I know that for a fact. They just fucking disappeared, and we'd hear from their family that they fucking died. So, in the beatings that I would see on a regular basis, there's no accountability. So they just do whatever they want to you up there, which is why you have to speak out when you have the chance. When you're out, you should speak out about this shit.
With you, 100%. So, I mean, you have witnessed some cops just beating up inmates?
Every fucking day of my life, man. I'm sorry, but every day of my fucking life up there, dude, it was, just the horrendous, the verbal abuse constantly, the physical fucking abuse of just, when, for example, let's just say that there's a fight. The common way that it goes down, it could even be a small fight. Let's just say, some dude just like swings on a guy and misses. Well, what they're going to do, depending on the cop, is he's going to pull the pin. He's going to hit that button on his fucking walkie-talkie. Now, once that pin's pulled, they're going to scream, on the fucking couch, get your fucking cube, and just, throw everybody in their cube. And now you got to fucking wait in your cube, and they're running down like 40, 50 cops, and they're running in there all amped up. And they just start, they're looking to spray people. They probably spray the dude. Even if he missed and he didn't really beat anybody up, they're going to spray him in the face. They're going to spray the other dude in the face and anybody around him. And they can't fucking breathe. And then when they're on the ground, they're just beating his face in. They're fucking they're handcuffing his hands and dragging him all the way up behind his back, all the way up. And just while he's on the walkway, they're just beating his face in front of everybody. And then when they get him down to medical, God help you when you're in there, man, because that's where nobody can see you. And they put you in a room. The sergeants are there. The lieutenant might be there. and they, probably strip your ass naked and fucking just start beating the living shit out of you before they put you in the box. And that shit happens every fucking day. Sorry. If you're a CO and you're watching this, you know that that's what's going on. It's not a fucking mystery. And you really expect me not to fucking talk about it at this point? I mean, really, it's ridiculous,
So, you earlier you said, look, the cops do things to inmates do things to the cops. What are some of the shit? Let's
Yep.
let's be, let's
Yeah,
call it both ways. What's some of the stuff that the inmates do that towards the cops?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Inmates, they up in New York State, it's a little bit militant, so there's a lot less of shit going on where like you won't see an inmate necessarily stab cops or square off with cops all that often. It does happen. You see inmates, fucking with cops' food, fucking with their property. You see them, sometimes an inmate will pop off and like try to knock out a sergeant or something like that, and that has happened while I was there. There was an inmate right before I got up there that actually cut a cop's face open a little bit. And then after that, the CERT team ran down and beat the shit out of everybody for like 2 weeks. But, I actually wasn't there for that. That happened right before I got there. But it does happen. Inmates are no fucking angels either, man. I understand why cops have the attitude that they do towards inmates, which is why I'm saying that it's just a bad system. It's a place where there's nothing good that's happening there. It's just all negative, all violence, just everybody's worse for it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I've been there. So I've been in Comstock, I've been in Wyoming. I mean, I've been in Attica, I've been in some pretty serious places, right? But I say this, like in New York State Department of Corrections, I just felt like everybody was nasty. I don't care. The chaplain, the cops, the commissary lady, everybody was nasty to you. Like they have their group.
Oh, yeah.
And you're a prisoner, so fuck you.
You're a fucking convict. You're a piece of shit. You're a scumbag. Like you wear green, I wear blue. Go fuck yourself. Like just the way they look at you every day, the way they talk to you every day. And then God forbid you get mad and you say something back or you file a grievance. God forbid you're getting retaliated on. Anybody that puts anything on paper, they're going to make your life fucking miserable if you survive. They might just, I remember there was an old man named Tim, who filed a lawsuit against docs. And he was coming out of the mess hall one day with a fucking butter. Everybody steals butter from the mess hall. That's just what people do. And, they were waiting for him on the outside. You have to go in, you go through the mag. They sometimes have a dog there. You fucking eat quick. You have 2 minutes to eat. And sometimes you take a butter bag to make some food back at the dorm. And they were just waiting for him. They were just soccer kicking this old man's head right outside the fucking, right outside the chow hall. It happens. It's crazy, but he was an old man. He was like 65. And they're soccer kicking this guy's fucking head in because he filed a lawsuit.
So now, you're in New York State prison. The cops, some of them are probably most of them are pro-Trump. But I'm sure you've seen all the things that have happened right now with Robert Brooks, right?
Right.
He gets killed at Marcy. It's on camera. You've seen all that?
Yeah, I have. And, that's what I'm talking about. That kind of thing happens every single day. In every facility all the time. Maybe I haven't been in every facility, but I have a pretty good idea of how New York State Department of Corrections works because I've been in a number of their facilities. I was in Ulster, Governor, Cape Vincent, Marcy. Okay, that's like what, 5? And just the cops are the cops. They move a certain way upstate, and that's the kind of thing that they do. They choke people out. Just military style punishment, creative, disturbing forms of torture and punishment that are like, you wouldn't believe it unless you were there. And, that's just how it is. I'm surprised, frankly, that video got out. That's the thing that surprised me the most. Cause I'm like, why would they let that get out? Cause when you're in prison, they control everything. They control the messages that you could get from the outside world. They censor those. They control the messages that you could send from prison. You can't say certain things on the phone. They'll hang up. on you. So I'm just amazed that they allowed that out, to be honest with you, because you'd think that'd be something they would just delete, because that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked also that it ended up getting out, right? And I mean, whoever that officer was that had his camera on that day, he's probably ostracized from his community 100%.
Oh yeah. I mean, he just got those, they're like a gang. So pretty much he just is responsible for those 8 guys now getting thrown under the bus. I mean,
you feel like the correctional officers are their own gang?
They are. Absolutely. They're their own gang, because, like, there are a number of cops that I personally, this is going to sound fucked up, okay? But I personally had a good relationship with a number of cops, okay? Not that I was an informant or a snitch. I never did that shit. But because they were always respectful to me, they were always nice to me. And just,
no, let's just call it what it is. It's because you're white, they're white, you're a Trumper, they're Trumpers. You probably similar backgrounds, conservative. And most of them are country boys. Look, I've been there. I've been to Compton.
Yeah.
I've been to Wyoming. I know, but the people that are watching don't know. And are they a gang? 100% they're a gang. They're their own crew. They look out for each other. Their kids play baseball with the other family's kids, and they all go to the same schools. And it's been going on all the way down. Their father was a cop. Now they're a correctional officer, and it goes all the way down the line.
And most of them know this. They'll admit it. They're going to get mad at me for saying it. But, dude, you had to know this day was coming, bro. Like, you had to know that at some point I was going to get out and, I was going to talk about it. It's just the way it is. I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus. But, there's a couple people that I actually do, want to maybe talk about at some point in the future. I'm not going to do it right now, but there are a couple cops that the shit they did to me was so fucking crazy that I would like to actually, figure out how to maybe have some accountability. I'll figure out the right way to do it. I'm not going to blast their names out or nothing, but it's like,
I don't say their names. What did they do to you that hurt you?
There was like this one cop, right? This dude was a raging fucking alcoholic. I'm not even going to say the dorm that he was at. This dude this guy was, he just created such a fucking toxic environment in the dorm as a cop. Like, he was basically banging a lady that worked there, and she was in charge of the program going on in that dorm. And he was always wasted. This cop was wasted in the dorm 7 days of fucking, whenever he was on, like 4 days a week, he was the regular. And when he would get all high on speed and drunk, and he'd be like going around because they have so much power to pull the pin or spray you. It scared the fuck out of me every day. And then he would harass me because I was like, my case was high profile or whatever. So he would, talk shit about me to the guys when I was out at yard or whatever. And it was crazy. It just made me very, very uncomfortable in jail, where I'm already uncomfortable. I felt like at any point this dude could pull the pin on me or corner me or fucking, he was like writing me bullshit tickets. Like, he wrote me, like, he and his fucking girl were writing me these tickets because, like, my fan cover was off for cube inspection in the morning and I couldn't find it. So they wrote me like 10 fucking tickets in a row for that. And then that actually almost jammed me up for like having my fucking fan cover off. Meanwhile, he's got dudes down the way doing tattoos, and their cubes are all fucked up every day. And, he gives them a pass because they're paying they're a rat.
Listen, fuck that dude. You should put him out there. Fuck him.
No, not right now. Not right now. I got too much shit going on. I'm not doing that right now. But
put him out there. We should pull up his picture and we should put him out there. But anyway, Sam, this is the crazy part, right? That people don't understand. People that are watching, we're going to give them a little jewel right here, right? I was in New York State prison in 1996, 97, 98, 99, right? 2009, 19, 25 years ago, right? And this was the culture back then. They would write you up 10 times for not having a phone, a fan cover on, and and they were real serious about it. Like, you really violated, right?
Call you up to the desk.
Like, you ruined their whole day, and they get all nasty about it. You know what? They've passed this culture down to their kids and to the other people that are working in this environment. It's the culture, man. That's what they do. And then, you have people out here, they're on strike, and people are like, oh, shouldn't go to jail, or it's a dangerous environment. No, they create the dangerous environment. You agree?
Yeah.
They create
No,
it.
that's a fact. No, you have to have been there to understand what it is. The COs control the medium prison. At least the ones I've been in. I didn't go to Green. I hear Green is basically run by the inmates, but most of the prisons upstate are run by the cops. The cops rule it with the iron fist. They will crush you for anything that you do or say, or they don't like how you move, how you walk, how you talk. They will crush you. And they're not these. All due respect, again, I like some of the cops up there. I'm not trying to fucking make their lives worse, but it's just what happened. They, the shit they do is really not acceptable. And I think that if people knew about it, they're not these soft fucking marshmallows that they're portraying themselves to be. They pretty much sit at their goddamn desk all day. They fart, they watch TV, they watch the inmates' TV actually. And they fucking whenever they want to ruin somebody's life, that's what they do. The hardest thing about their job is they got to do the fucking counts, and sometimes they got to run down on people. Other than that, it's not that bad of a job. I'd say that my job, that I have out here is fucking harder than that job. Just saying, moving furniture, fucking doing electrical work, roofing, whatever you're doing as a blue collar worker, that shit is harder than being a CO, in my fucking opinion. For what it's worth.
100%. So look, I mean, you've been to a bunch of different places. Were you ever on Rikers Island?
Yeah, I was on Rikers.
How was that for you?
Yeah, that place is pretty fucking crazy, man. Way different than New York State. That place is the most mismanaged prison that you could possibly imagine. It's like it's pure chaos, man. Like, if from the moment you get on that bus, they shackle you to another guy and you're in a little cage on a bus, to the bullpen that you get in there, dudes are smoking weed in front of the cops. They're fucking pulling shit out of their ass. They're fucking, dude, it's crazy. They're like, dude, I shit you not. They're fucking baking the goddamn bullpen. They're sniffing heroin. They're fucking smoking cigarettes. It's not a big deal, but and then when you get to the dorm, oh my fucking God. Like in my case, they opened up a new dorm for us because it was 2021, I guess, for COVID or whatever. I was in the 6th building. They opened up a new dorm and they put 50 of us in there, dude. Dude, it was fucking crazy, man. Just all day, every day, constant fights, packing people up, dudes getting sucker punched. They're throwing their shit at the fucking Sally port. I seen this one dude, this like little homeless dude, fucking, he stole one of the trays from the day room because they bring the trays on a cart to the day room. And this is how fucked up I am. I think this is funny. It's actually not funny at all. It's how I cope, I guess. He stole one of the trays, and you know how they are. They're like, "Hey, who stole the fucking tray? Like, whichever one of you motherfuckers stole this tray, whichever one of you niggas stole the tray." It was a black guy saying it, whatever. "I'm gonna fuck you up." And so that they walk right over to the homeless guy because, it was pretty obvious he did it. They lift up his mat and they see it there, and they smack him so fucking hard he flips over the divider and face plants on the floor. And then they take all his shit and throw it at the Sally port, and they're throwing hot water at him. They're spitting on him. They do this to the cops. All the cops there are like women, like they're like out of shape women that they don't know what they're doing. So they like run away from shit. Like they're like, "Oh my God, he in there fighting shit." And they run to the bubble, and like the dudes are like, "Fuck you, bitch." I'm just saying what they do. I didn't do none of that, but they're like throwing shit at the bubble. It's crazy.
You ever have any problems yourself? Any physical altercations, anything like that?
Yeah. I have. I just mind my business, but I don't really take no shit, because I've seen, especially with the white dudes that take shit from people, like that's where they get extorted. They get taken advantage of because they're a minority. There's only a couple of us there in the state. In the feds, it's different. and it's like a car situation, but in the state it's not like that. So in Rikers Island or in New York State, you have to stand up for yourself as a white man. You can't allow black people or Spanish people or whoever the fuck it is to try to push up on you and demand stuff for you or friendly extort you or whatever. So yeah, I've had weapons pulled out on me. I've been jumped. I've been jumped in my cell. I've been I've squared up with people in the bathroom, and then when they could see I fight, they actually ran out of the fucking bathroom. But
You jumped at
yeah,
what prison?
I got jumped at FTC Philadelphia. It was like that guy I was telling you about, Jay. Sorry, his name is Jake. His name is Jake. Um, he had it coming, but these two guys, Mills and Shmoney, these two, I'm only 5'8", but these dudes are 6'4", 6'3". These big black dudes, man. They run down on my cell, and they're like, they've got knives with them. They're all high on deuce, and they're like, it was commissary day actually, and they're like, "Hey, you got any donations?" And they just ran in my cell, and I stood up. I'm like, "Nah, man, I don't have any donations for you, bro." And yeah, I'm like, "I don't have any donations for you, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what happens, bro. I'm not doing this." And then they look at me and they're like, "All right, Fisher." And then they look at Jake, and then they're like, You got donations for us, don't you, pal?" And then he's like, "Nah, I don't." And then they're like, "Well, you know what time it is." So then they fucking put their hands up, and I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, fellas." Nah, they weren't hearing none of that shit. They start beating the fuck out of him, man. And I'm there. I'm like, oh, yo, fellas, chill the fuck out, chill the fuck out. They just start beating this
Which
fucking
Jake are
dude.
you talking about?
This is the dude in FTC Philadelphia that I was mentioning. He had bad charges.
Okay, so it wasn't Jake Lang. Okay, keep going.
No, not Jake Lang. Jake Lang's a J6er. I don't think he has bad charges. This dude was a black fella in FTC Philadelphia named Jake, and he had super bad charges. So when they were beating him,
they start whomping this dude because he don't have no donations.
yeah, and then they beat him to fuck, dude. I mean, they beat him so fucking bad, man. And they were stabbing him in the back. And then what happened with him is there's a lot I didn't know. I'd only been there a week. He goes and he's reaching underneath he's like on the rack. And I'm like, yo, just take the fucking shit and get out of here. And he's reaching for something. And I don't see what it is. And the other dude's got him choked out from behind. The other dude's pounding his fucking head in from the side. And then all of a sudden I see Jake turn around. He goes like this, and he's got this big fucking ice pick in his hand, and he goes like this. He just grazes dude's neck. And I don't know what was going on in his mind, but he didn't stab him in the neck. He just grazed him with it for whatever reason. And at that point, they both got up off of him. They took his shit. They took a bag of my chips, which I'm still pissed about. They wound up actually paying me back for that later. They took all his shit and then ran up out of there. I'm like, oh, fuck. There's blood all over the cell. The cell's fucking destroyed. I'm there cleaning up this fucking dude's blood, fucking flushing the shit down the toilet. And it's a murder hole. There's no cameras in that corner. It was a bad situation, man. I took a few shots while I was in the corner getting fucking, just this dude just raining blows down on this guy, man. And it's bad.
Do you ever have your commissary or anything stolen from you?
No. Although on my last day up at Cape Vincent, when I was giving shit away, I left my goddamn blanket. I had like a nice plush blanket, and I left that shit on my rack because I was, giving stuff away. And this dude who just moved in next door, the shit just disappeared. So that was bad. But it was my last day, and I don't really give a fuck at that point.
So now you end up you get out before you're even pardoned, right?
Yeah, I did my whole sentence.
So you get out, you're on the street. Were you on supervised probation, supervised release?
So here's the crazy thing, right?
No, I'm not saying I wanted to ask you that for a reason, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still on parole. I'm still on supervised release now for the state charge.
So that's what I want to ask you, though. You do get pardoned. What does your probation officer say? You're a federal probation officer. When you get pardoned, they call you like, "Hey, you're done."
Oh, yeah. He said, "Hey, you're done. Good luck, Fisher." He was all right, actually. He was a nice guy, and he was a straight shooter. I got, he was all right, actually.
You're on New
At
York
least to
State
me, it
parole.
was.
You're on New York State parole
Yeah.
now. How's that?
Yeah, so I'm on New York State parole now, and I'm on the NYPD's gun offender unit supervision. So I have to report to them every 6 months too. Uh, and yeah, it's not great, man. I can't leave the county. I have had my PO call jobs. I've had, I understand it's a lot better now than it was, but it's still, it's horrible. It's like, I'm not free. I have curfew. I have stuff I got to do. I got to report. Um, it makes me jump through hoops. They don't make it easy. I can't even talk about it. Actually they told me not to even talk about it. So it's just overall, it's just rough.
Talk about whatever you
And
want to talk about. They can't tell you what you can't talk about.
I don't know. This lawyer said don't ever talk about, anything related to supervised release, this and that. But I'm just gonna leave the names out of it. But yeah, man, and so now I'm trying to find a lawyer that can take a look at the case. And it's crazy because I've never seen such a clear case of like a case that should be thrown out. The FBI set me up. I know they set a lot of people up, but they publicly set me up and everybody else at January 6th. They lied about how many agents were there. They said for years that there were no agents there at the Capitol. We don't know what happened. It was a violent insurrection. They slandered us. They lied about us in the media. They lied about us in the government. And all that shit turned out to be fucking lies. And then now we're just going to pretend like the shit you got from raiding my house based upon those lies should still be a conviction. But that's just how the Democrats play, man. They don't care. I am their political enemy, so they just want to make my life fucking miserable. So they will not let go of this conviction easily. You'd think that the judge would be like, "Oh wow, look at all this new evidence. We need to get rid of that conviction." I guess that would only happen if I was an illegal immigrant or a repeat violent offender or something like that, or somebody with bad charges. I'm sure he would have done that for them, but because I'm me and I'm a Trump supporter and a patriot or whatever, he's going to make my life hell.
Let me ask you this, right? Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, they're going at it. Joe Biden drops out of the race. Do you think Trump even had a chance? Be honest. Did you think Trump was going to win?
In my opinion, I think that Trump is very popular amongst real American citizens. I'm not talking about illegal immigrants or dead people or dogs and cats that they find voting. I'm talking about real Americans, people that are paying attention. They work a job. They know, what the price of eggs and gas are. I think he's very, very popular. So I think that if they had same day voting, if they had paper ballots, I think he would win every time. But at the time, in my opinion, I think the Democrats cheat in just about everything they do. And I think that they rig elections. And I didn't know if they were going to rig this one too. So I was like, I was on my knees in my cell in FDC Philadelphia, just fucking praying to God that he won. Because if he didn't win, I'm sure I'd be back in jail right now.
Let me ask you this, right? Because or let me say this. I thought it was going to be very, very close, and I thought Kamala Harris was going to beat Trump. That's what I thought.
Wow. Okay.
I just thought that the people were going to come out of the woodwork and, and like, look, man, some people just vote not based off of the issues. They go off of, what they see,
Right.
what they hear. And I would ask people, okay, you say this, but what do you mean? Why not? Like, I addressed, a few times where they're like, hey, man, Trump's a racist, right? I got a buddy who's like, he's a racist. That's why I'm voting for him. And I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, well, he did the biggest criminal justice reform package ever in the history of the country. And if not for that, I wouldn't be here right now. That has helped more African Americans than any other race, right? People have gotten out of prison. He just made Alice Johnson the pardon Cesar, right? She's going to be one of the head honchos over there.
Awesome.
People that deserve a second chance will probably get it because of her, because she's going to be in that position. Look, I don't agree with everything that the dude says. I'm going to keep it real with you. I don't agree with everything that he does. But I wouldn't be here right now able to talk to you or do an interview or have a wife or have kids or have a life at all if it wasn't for Trump, right? So it is what it is. And some people might get mad about that, but look, the dude did the First Step Act. Without that, all these people wouldn't be out of jail, right? These people wouldn't be getting a second chance. He's going to close the camps down probably. Most of those campers are probably going to go home on ankle bracelets. Why? Because he realizes that they're wasting all kinds of money having a guy in a camp where there's no fence, there's no wall. You're sending them out on the street to work. You got these guys driving vans. You got these women driving vehicles on the road amongst citizens, but yet they're in prison. Why are we wasting money to imprison these people? Right. So shut the camps down and send them home. Put them on an ankle monitor. Put them on federal probation. You would save so much more money by doing that, right? And people are like, look, people are losing their jobs, and you know what? Unfortunately, some people are losing their jobs. But when you look, and I always refer to the BOP. You got a case manager, you got a unit manager, you got a counselor. None of them do anything. They don't. None of them do
a damn thing, dude.
So now you're spending, on each unit, you're spending $200-something thousand, probably $280,000 a year to pay these people that do nothing. So why not get rid of these types of jobs?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they don't do anything. They're just there to, if they're any indication of what the federal government does and works like, they do absolutely nothing but make your life worse.
And I'm not disgruntled. I don't think I think you're pissed off. I think you're disgruntled that you went to jail, but it is what it is. But anyway, you were a January 6er. You were down there in DC. What was it like for you? Was it total chaos when you were there? Were you afraid when you were there?
No, man. No, it was actually a great day. It was actually a beautiful day because there were I have no idea the number. I'd guess it was like 1 million people that were from every walk of life. There were Chinese people there. There were Black people there. There were Spanish people there. There were a lot of white people there, a lot of white patriotic people, and every fucking type of person there that is just happy to be in this country, support Trump and support, good things in this country. And it was just actually a beautiful vibe. And then there was a lot of weird shit going on. And then there was, especially us guys that have been in jail, we know how to spot people that are moving weird. There were a lot of people there that were moving fucking weird. But I was a civilian at the time. Sorry about that. I didn't know no better. I didn't know that I was potentially being set up. There were people there on bullhorn saying, let's go to the Capitol. Let's go. And I didn't think to myself, oh, that's a Fed. That's a provocateur. I didn't think that because I didn't know no better. I was drinking at the time. I had a little drinking problem. So, I was just kind of a retard, I guess. And I just, I was pissed off about the way things were going in the country, the election results. And I think a lot of people were. And so they just provoked us to go up there. Then they started shooting tear gas rounds at us up there, explosives. Then they shimmied us all off to one side, and there was an open door, and they're like, get in there. And I'm like, yeah, like kind of a retard. And I walked through the goddamn open door, and I didn't break anything. I didn't steal anything. I just walked around. I was like, that's crazy. And then walked back out. And that's what happened. That's the extent of my crime, as they say, is walking through an open door. And my whole thing with that too is like, why were the doors open? They have these huge magnetic locks on the door. Why was the door open? That should be like the number one question that they ask is like, if this wasn't a setup, why were the doors open? If you didn't want people to come in.
Listen, it is what it is. You went to jail. You're out now.
Yeah.
January 6er. I know you've been having a hard time with some real serious employment. You're trying to get a job as an electrician. Yeah. You're trying to get in the union, whatever, trying to get a good job in the New York City area. Anybody watching this, Sam, maybe we'll leave up some links. People can find you.
Yes, sir.
Young dude, got some skills, looking for a job. Anybody wants to hire this dude, he's ready to go to work, right?
Yep, I sure am. I'm an electrician. I got certifications. Like you could call me like a junior mechanic electrician. Just being honest with you, I learned these trades in prison. Before this, I was a small business owner, but I worked every day in my prison bid in solar tech, electrical, on the work crew, doing electrical work, doing drywall, doing painting. So you know, that's where I learned all this stuff. I became a paralegal in jail. I got 57 credits of college in jail. And you know, I'm an ambitious, hardworking person. I'm not a scrub. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. And yeah, every job that I applied to, I have a job now, but it's not great. They, you know, they discriminate. It's not even about the gun charge. It's about January 6th. Even at Trump Hotel, you know, the lady there, I assume, you know, whatever her political thing is, she started being super rude to me after they did the background check. Before that, they were like, "Oh, we can't wait for you to work for us. Oh my God, you seem so awesome." And then after that, it was just like, "Fuck this guy." Even, I mean, I just keep getting fired, and that's a thing for all of us, is that we all just can't find jobs.
At the Trump Hotel, they were going to give you a job, and then
Yeah, even them.
We might have to put out a short on there. Trump, I need a job.
Yeah, please. That job would have changed my life, man.
Look, man, it is what it is. I appreciate you coming on, yeah. Sam. We had you before you went to jail. Now we got you after jail. Anything you want to say before we go?
Just thank you, Chad. I appreciate what you do, man. You really helped me before I went in. I watched your videos, and it just, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to tell people, if you like what we're doing, you already know what it is. Hit that like button. Blood on the Razor Wire TV with respect. Until tomorrow, we're out.